These games are important for every single person, but oh,
I don't know what you do with that.
nothing.
It's only the preseason, but Wemby's development looks scary. Spurs superstar has stated that nobody has practiced harder than him this offseason, but maybe we should look at how he trained instead. Slowly, a new modern training method is taking over every sport, including the NBA. CLA, or a constraints-led approach, is making teams and players that use it incredibly hard to stop. So in this video, let me tell you all about the training method that is revolutionizing the modern basketball and the NBA. The world was shocked when last February it was announced that Wemby has deep vein thrombosis. After going a successful rehab, the Frenchman was focused on changing a lot of things this summer. He added more muscle, he grew another inch, as hard as it may be to believe it. He was seen practicing with Hakeem Olajuwon and Kevin Garnett, but more importantly, he changed the way he was working out every single day. Over the past decade, basketball has seen a major shift towards the analytical approach. Teams are playing faster than ever, taking more threes than ever, taking less mid-ranges. All thanks to a huge focus on numbers and analytics. Franchises that started using data earlier had the advantage over those who were a bit late to the party. Now, a huge new trend is emerging, and not behind the computer desks but on the court. Constraints-led approach is taking over basketball everywhere. Instead of practices filled with the same shots over and over again, CLA is all about making practice match the game environment. It replaces traditional block training where an athlete simply tries to perfect one single movement with game-like situations that feature special rules and forces them to adapt on the fly. It's founded on the principle that training perfectly yields imperfect results. For example, making 95 out of 100 static three-pointers might sound sexy, but game situations are way more different and more efficient. Shooting twice as less shots but after different movements to the spot or with defenders nearby, who could even force you to take a shot fake into a sidestep three, proves to be a lot more efficient by this logic. So those constraints can be extremely different, whether it's the number of steps or dribbles players can take, the area of the playing in which they are allowed to maneuver, or even the weight of the ball they are using. Players are repeatedly told to overcome restrictions to accomplish a task. And that task is almost always the same: how to find an advantage and then understand how to keep it until the team finds the best quality shot. By forcing players to deal with variables that are impossible to predict, the CLA teaches them to execute under stress rather than flawlessly in a vacuum. If a coach can get the player to work through a failure and creatively solve the problems, the thinking goes that the practices actually become harder than the games. And that is the most important objective of this new era training, because every athlete coming into the NBA nowadays is almost a perfectly built 2K player. Tall, lengthy, athletic, skilled, and almost everyone can shoot. So the biggest separator becomes of how good and quickly you can read the game as it unfolds, and this is why CLA is thriving. The movement was started by the British coach Alex Sarama. Now he's an assistant coach in Cleveland working with Kenny Atkinson, but it all started in Europe. Sarama was coaching kids in Italy while also simultaneously working as an assistant coach for Paris basketball under coach Will Weaver, who is now an assistant in Brooklyn. Sarama and Weaver designed the practices, while Sarama was also responsible for player development. Paris surprised a lot of people that year, and Alex Sarama got the call up to Blazers G League team Rip City Remix. That triggered dominoes to start falling in the NBA, as Alex himself likes to teach during his CLA practices when the advantage is created. Each year, more and more NBA teams are trying to implement this training methodology, but the Cleveland Cavs were among the first. Kenny Atkinson is known as someone who's always searching social media for the latest basketball trends and fresh ideas. That's why when he got the job as the head coach in Cleveland, he immediately hired Sarama to work with him. He understood that the constraints-led approach is the future of basketball. The result of that in their first season? Well, the Cavs did not change their core that summer, but their offense rose from 16th to the first place in the NBA as their offensive rating skyrocketed from 115 to 121. That was a crazy jump, and if you are enjoying this video or simply figuring out something new today, please subscribe to our channel. We are working really hard to present you the most interesting basketball content from all over the world, so we would appreciate you subbing a lot. Thank you. Going back to the video, CLA is a complex thing, and it wasn't easy for the Cleveland Cavaliers players to understand it. This approach is also about randomness on court. Randomness, but coordinated one. For example, when Donovan Mitchell drives one way, Jarrett Allen is going to cut that way. There were dozens of these combinations and overall concepts, but Cavs were among the best cutting teams last season. They simply knew how to punish passive pick-and-roll coverages, aggressive pick-and-roll coverages, or players that sit in driving gaps. And if you watched the Cavs last season, I'm pretty sure you saw something like this last year. Someone is driving towards the paint, corner guy is cutting along the baseline as the man on the wing slides into his spot. It is just one example of how CLA works. And because of that, Cleveland's offense just knew how to respond against any kind of the defense the opponents threw at them. Now, going back to Wemby and his practices, a great point of emphasis was mentioned in the New York Times article about the CLA trainings. Victor drives to the rim, executes a Eurostep to score in traffic. His coach stops the practice immediately, invites Wembanyama to watch the action on the replay screen. CLA is also about that. A lot of video reviews before and after and during the practices, simply for the player to understand what he did wrong in that exact situation and to know what he should do the other time he faces the same defense. Wemby scored on that play in practice, but in that case, a Eurostep to the left was a predetermined move, while going right, there was more space. After that, Wembanyama knew exactly how he would react the next time. Among other pioneers of this approach in the NBA are the Memphis Grizzlies. Last year, under coach Taylor Jenkins, they have tried an extreme CLA approach. Insane pace, but almost no pick and rolls, just different offensive triggers with a lot of one-on-one action and a lot of off-ball movement. While it worked pretty well early in the season, it wasn't what team star Ja Morant enjoyed highly. The frustration in the organization grew, and Jenkins was fired with assistant Thomas Isolo promoted. And since I am from Europe, I have followed very closely Isolo's teams in the last 4 or 5 years. He is a huge believer in CLA as well, and his teams always overperformed. That's why he's now in the NBA, and using this new training method, he prepared his teams against any kind of pick and roll defense they saw in Europe. Hedge, drop, flat, blitz, double, you name it, Paris had an answer for everything. Almost 2 years ago, I even made a video highlighting how their system has an offensive rating higher than any NBA team has ever recorded before. So you can expect the Grizzlies to be among the best this year in the NBA as well. Moreover, last year's finalists, the Indiana Pacers, have also implemented CLA training methods into their practices. Have you noticed their offense rarely stops flowing? That makes it so hard to stop. The Pacers, through CLA practices, have figured out how to engage into a new trigger action if the first one does not create anything. For example, they love the get action, where a short pass is sent to a big guy at the elbow or at the top of the key. From that, you can flow into a handoff, you can flow into a pick and roll, you can curl around if the defense is denying you from the ball, and then go into zoom action. But that's just 2 options in this scenario, and there are a bunch of them, because this is what CLA teaches you. Reading the game as it happens and knowing what to do next according to the defense you see from your opponents. We are seeing a revolution in sports training unfold, and Alex Sarama started a movement. There are already examples of football players or even NFL players using it. Those who are joining now have a competitive advantage. And good luck to those who are still questioning it. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to press like and subscribe. Let me know what you think about this training method in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.